If you can't fight in your meetings with your team and draw out productive conflict, your company is doomed to fail. Hi, my name is Jason Ehlinger, and I'm the CEO of Taika Translations. We're a multi-million-dollar interpretation, translation, and digital services company. And what I mean by productive conflict is this. When you have team members and you have objectives that you're trying to attain, if team members don't feel safe to be able to argue during your meetings on almost a personal level, it's a very fine line that you have to dance from being ugly, mean-spirited fighting. That's not what I'm talking about. Name-calling, ugly, mean-spirited, not driving to results conversation, and simply this person disagrees how this should be done or what should be done at this time, and we've got to come to a resolution so that we can proceed forwards. And the team members feel comfortable being vulnerable with their emotions and their full opinions, that they will draw it out and bring it into the open, discuss the full process, and make sure they're heard. And after they're heard, feel that peace that, you know what, I've been heard. And even if my opinion wasn't the selected opinion for the entire objective, I've been heard. And since I've been heard, I kind of released some of the energy that I was harboring inside and my opposition, so that would eventually, just because it's inside me, eventually it will sabotage our ability to succeed. So many business owners start out in their businesses and they shy away from conflict at all costs. But that is one of the biggest mistakes you can make, because it means you haven't done enough to develop the relationships in all of your team members the way that they feel comfortable being vulnerable with each other. And if you don't have a team that feels comfortable being vulnerable with those other team members in the environment, you're never going to be able to drive to meaningful outcomes that create incredible results. And it's not only about results, but this is about the whole picture, the whole part of the business process, from coming up with the idea of what to do, then inventing programs and enabling people and holding people to deadlines, like the whole thing. There's going to be this point where you're going to have to have productive conflict. So I was sitting, just case in point, I was sitting in a meeting yesterday, and we were talking about an important new process that our company is doing in the area of interpretation. And one of our team members was visibly upset when we were talking about how some section of this, some work of this needed to be done. And as the business owner and as the leader of the meeting, and not even if you're not just the owner, or if you're the CEO or you're a manager or you're a line manager of some sort, and you're having a meeting and one of your team members is visibly disgruntled about this thing, about how it's being done, or some of the ideas about how it's being done, then you have to draw that conflict out. You have to draw that conflict out and bring it out in the open. Now, you can't do this if you haven't developed a vulnerability-based trust in your team. If you already have that trust built on a healthy level, then you can draw it out, have the conflict then and there in the meeting, and that will drive to incredible commitment by all parties involved. And it's a skill that takes time to do, but it's very important to be able to have arguments in the moment, in the meeting, around issues that matter. And then, as soon as those arguments have been had and those parties that are directly involved have been heard, you can drive immediately to actionable results, and you can almost guarantee that those outcomes, they're going to be fulfilled. Simply because you've done a good job uniting your team, creating vulnerability-based trust throughout the team, so that when you're having those conversations, you can draw that conflict out into a safe environment, produce the action items you need, and create results. And This is a big mistake for new leaders or new CEOs of companies, that if you're not willing and comfortable having heated arguments with your team, it means that you're not yet comfortable enough, or you've not yet created enough trust within the team. And creating the trust is the building block for having the conflicts. And resolved conflicts, are the facilitating factor that leads to actionable steps and ultimately the results that you're trying to achieve. So I want to encourage somebody out there, if you're shying away from heat during meetings, it's likely because either, well, you're just trying to be too nice, or you haven't done a sufficient job creating trust in your team so that they feel safe having arguments in your meetings.